commercial company. So,
but LLVM.org is right there.
yeah.
So, and part of it is making it as seamless. Part of making it is making releases common, which is something that Tanya has done since she's taken over, and making sure they get out on time and they're high quality releases and they just work when people use them and all that. So.
Kind of community that we should try to start is just academia. Because, like I said, that there are many academic compiler projects that don't work or are out of date or just exist for one particular point. We get those people to use LLVM. And I know from experience that many of them have just had bad experience with GCC in the past, and now they're just trying to be as isolated as they can convince them to use LLVM.
That's an ongoing process. And the other thing is that it seems like there's all these people using LLVM, and I only find out when I just start Googling for random things, and I find, somebody wrote 4 papers that use it. Well, they should tell us so we can put it on the webpage, so we can advertise their stuff, and say.
So to me, for example, before I joined Apple, I didn't know about LLVM. To me, I knew about Trimmer. I knew about many other research compilers. I never heard about LLVM. Even in the academic world, this infrastructure is at least as equal to Trimmer, but it's, at least to me, it wasn't as publicized.
So how did you learn about the
interview?
Interview for a job.
With regard to the release with the OS, are you saying it's not going to happen as the OS release, or not? Is that eliminated? It's not going to happen as a developer tools release, because that's kind of a separate release, and that's kind of a little more, edge of the.
So I obviously can't talk about specific plans that Apple has.
Sure.
In regards to future plans, there's nothing that's planned to happen in the short term. So, the best thing that we can do is this. So the link optimization support will ship with Leopard, so you can transfer an LTO with Leopard. So that's it.
You couldn't get Apple to do a news release with Leopard.
Well, so like I said, they're planning on doing a news release after WWDC. So
maybe a small idea would be next time we have a developer conference or some other conference of the LLVM community, just get even token sponsorship from some of the companies using it, so we get their logos up on a website. And get a nice splashy press release about it.
Well, I think that one of the sessions that we should inject is, how well things went this year and what we should do for next year.
Yep.
So, because this is the right room for this many people, which is good because I thought 30 people would come and twice I came. But it's not going to work for next year. So we should talk about that, but not right now.
One thing might be to package a DMG. Just as a separate idea. I know that was
that's a good point. We could make it
lower
available, doing the Apple compiler 4-way, fat, multi-way, dash arch, craziness stuff. So, build with the Apple way, and so it just installs more like GCC. That's actually an excellent point. Something we don't do right now. So that's something that's also very easy to do.
Just amplifying a little bit on what Raphael was saying, but I think the biggest stumbling block to adoption is the instability of the GCC front end, or the fact that for the time being it's LLVM is sort of hamstrung to it, and the fact that, for better or worse, GCC release engineer that I talked to was just so thoroughly hostile to, maybe some of the LLVM patches could go into the mainline GCC tree. I think having a better front end, and for better or worse, demonstrating the relative utility over GCC.
Well, so I'd put that a different way. I'd say that right now the main most visible way that LLVM is useful is through LLVM GCC. Right. But I also think that that's in and of itself a problem, and I don't think it's a problem that the core LLVM people need to solve. I think that it's something that the community should solve. So, for example, I understand that the Mesa OpenGL people are starting to use it for various things, and PyPy is using it for various things, which is a Python implementation, right? So I think that as more cross-pollination among the different compiler-y related projects starts happening, and people start using LLVM for more different things, then it's not just LLVM GCC. You'll be able to take your crazy Perl dynamic specializing whatever the heck compiler
there's
and that
also
would
a
be
certain
safe.
amount of proselytizing that has to go along with
Absolutely.
this. You know, I take it to as many conferences as I can and say, hey, you know, LLVM is a great piece of code, but what I run into, and what I, you know, in a previous lifetime, I ran into, you know, who has the mind share? Well, in peer-to-peer, it was distributed hash tables. In, you know, the compiler community, it kind of appears like Sweef still, and it still seems to have, you know, huge amounts of mind share. Well, you know, look, Mary Hall, USC, does a lot of stuff on compiler-related search and stuff like that. What does she do? What does her students do it all on? Sweep.
Yep. Well, a lot of
You
that-
talk to NSF, Frederica Tarima has a significant amount of mind share that, hey, sweep is still a thing to do, but, okay, sorry. I'm no stranger to controversy, so.
Yes, so Mary Hall did a postdoc at Stanford with the Sweep group, and Frederica has funded Monica Lamb's work on Sweep in the
Right.
past. So what I'm trying to say is those are not representative examples of the larger academic community.
Yeah, but Monica doesn't even use it anymore.
Yeah, that
No,
I
but
know.
it
I
seems
know
that
that.
when you're coming into, you know, languages compilers from the outside, it would seem that Sweep has a far larger mind share than most anything else that I've encountered.
In the academic world, yes.
Yes.
And part,
Yeah,
of
but
part of that's momentum, and part of that's
Right.
you know being aggressive with pursuing people.
I think that the real reason for it is that there have been so many very successful papers written with it.
Right.
That many people read those papers and they're all with Sweep, and so
That means we
it
need
has
more
a large
academic
mind
people
share.
using it. Come on, you need to go to conferences and convince these people.